So everybody chillax about Donald Trump in terms of what he says. He's bombastic. We know that. Listen to the signal, explore the opportunity. That's my message to Canadians.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Uh, Today we're going to be taking a look at Kevin O'Leary as this guy's been on a bit of a media rampage lately. I'm sure you've seen him on across different platforms, and majority of the time he's just bashing Trudeau. But he did mention having a meeting with Trump, telling him, don't deal with Trudeau and his goons, just wait till the next prime minister is in power so that you have a 4-year mandate to deal with. But another thing that he's been doing is trying to put somebody in the limelight and in Canada's crosshairs, and that individual is Gerald Butts. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Gerald Butts, he was Trudeau's senior political advisor during Trudeau's first term, and he's actually known Trudeau since the 90s. They went to university together, they've been friends for over 2 decades, and if you remember the infamous wedding party photo that Trudeau has, this is Gerald Butts right here with beside Seamus O'Regan and Mark Miller. So Butts is right here beside Trudeau. And Kevin is trying to make the point that the country is in the state that it's in because of this guy. He's basically the puppet master, not Trudeau, because it was all of Gerald's policies that he put forward to Trudeau that made Trudeau do the things that he did to our country. Now, there was an interview a few days ago with Danielle Cambone where Kevin O'Leary actually brought this up, which I'll go to play in a second. But just yesterday, he was on Global during their morning show, and again, he brought this up. I was surprised they let him go on this rant about Gerald Butts for as long as they did. But let's actually first take a look at Danielle and her interview with Kevin.
It's going to be very hard. Trudeau was also successful in alienating Canadian people against other nationalities, the Egyptians, the Indians, the Chinese. You know, this all started where you are. The birthplace of this travesty, I don't know what else to call it, is in the early 1990s at McGill, when Trudeau was met a classmate there named Gerald Butts. Now, Gerald Butts does not get a lot of the limelight. I'm going to try and fix that for him. He has blood on his hands in terms of murdering the Canadian economy. The two of them, dancing like nymphs in the forest, decided they were going to change Canada's entire legacy and did not understand or ever read where the wealth of Canada was born in its resources. And so Trudeau had no idea what he was doing. That's clear now. But Butts designed policy as his chief advisor that slowly started to destroy the competitiveness across all sectors. And so what he did is he used permitting in the courts to start to deny permits in energy, in mining, in precious metals, in paper, in forestry, in water. He made it so that you couldn't get anything done or invested in at all. And that's Butts. That's Gerald Butts. That's the blood on his hands. So if Trudeau was the idiot king, the idiot jester is Butts, and he's escaped any scrutiny, and I'm going to work hard to make sure he gets his fair share of the claims that are being made against Trudeau, because Trudeau never understood Butts's policies. And so the first place you saw that was, remember, they had a majority mandate in the first 4 years, and Butts did all this stuff. It collapsed the Alberta economy. It collapsed interest in pipelines. It collapsed interest in mining permits. It collapsed any foreign sovereign wealth investment in Canada because all they got was delays and inability to get permits. And eventually in 2023, Danielle Smith in Alberta had to go to the Supreme Court to get back the rights to even develop her own resources, and won that case and started to bring capital back, and as she should. But that was really Gerald Butts. And so we must make sure in the legacy, and as I teach the case in institutions, I'll make sure that he gets his fair share of the credit for destroying his own country. You know, I don't know how he sleeps at night. I really don't.
Now, Kevin's spot on with everything that he was saying, and Gerald Butts hasn't been really in the spotlight for the past 5-6 years, because back in 2019, he resigned after the whole SNC Lavalin scandal and the Jody Wilson-Raybould departure. So he ended up resigning. But back in 2019, there was an article written on him by the National Observer saying 5 things you should know about Gerald Butts. And if we go down to the last one, Butts' influence is felt in every area of government policy, and Trudeau would not make any big policy decisions without the input of both Gerald Butts and Katie Telford. But the area that Butts holds dearest is the environment. Another crazy environmentalist. Environment policies were a central theme in McGuinty's government during the Butts era, and again with the Trudeau Liberals. Now, it's also been stated that carbon tax Carney has actually been talking about Gerald Butts and his vision on that. Now, Kevin actually brings this up during the Global interview, which I'm going to play now.
Now, you, of course, ran for the Conservative leadership back in 2017. Had you won, would you be willing to make Canada the 51st state and become a governor rather than be a prime minister?
No, no one said we have to do that. You know what I've been telling people? When you understand how Trump works, we've been listening to him for 12 years. You have to distinguish between the noise and the signal. The noise is we're buying Canada and everybody's becoming an American and there's governors. No, 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 no. The signal is let's explore an economic union. If you don't understand that, you don't understand Trump. And what I'm trying to point out to people is, look, and first of all, let's go back to the list. I don't give a damn what Trudeau says. Nobody cares anymore. He's gone. And that's very important for Canadian people. Very important. He was the worst manager in Canadian history and wiped out the net worth of almost every Canadian. 25% of our population lives in poverty now. That's specifically, and a lot of Canadians don't understand this, that's actually Gerald Butts. It has nothing to do with Trudeau. Trudeau has no idea what he was doing. I think people have figured that out. But if you recall in the original mandate, the majority mandate when Trudeau swept into power, the actual policy came from a man named Gerald Butts, who does not get enough credit for destroying the Canadian economy. He separated all the resource-based industries from the capital that funded it. He never understood how Canada became wealthy. Most of institutional investors, I included, left Canada 8 years ago, and you can see that GDP per capita drop, invested capital, foreign capital drop, GDP growth in Canada drop, debt per capita go up, all the other issues that people understand.
Yeah, Kevin,
that wasn't Trudeau, that was Gerald Butts. And so I'm trying to point that out because I heard a rumor a couple of days ago that Carney, who I just realized is a shapeshifter, because he's basically saying he wants to increase carbon taxes in Canada, is teaming up with Gerald Butts.
Now, to me, this isn't a rumor because if you were listening to the CBC 3 days ago on their radio show, The Current with Matt Galloway, Gerald Butts actually called in to weigh in on the whole Trudeau resigning situation. But at one point, Matt Galloway posed the question to him, who does he have in his crosshairs or would like to see as the next prime minister? And he brings up Mark Carney. And this is what Butts had to say about that.
So the race is on to try to figure out who should replace him. And this goes until
it would appear so.
The 24th of March. The bell has rung. The gun has been fired, whatever you want to call it. The contenders include, there's a long list, but you could have Chrystia Freeland, the former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney, current Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, former BC Premier Christy Clark. You've said that if you want to know who can play hockey, put on a hockey game. What would a full leadership contest, a robust leadership contest, tell Canadians?
I want to see what the rules are and who's in before I say anything publicly about that. I mean,
are you backing anybody now?
It's no secret that Mark Carney is a friend of mine, and I informally support him. I think I watched Mark deal with what I think is an almost eerily similar situation with the Brexiters, and he did a very difficult and necessary job extraordinarily well and protected as much as he could as governor of the Bank of England, the British economy and regular Britons in a very difficult period. And I think we're headed into a similar one here. So we need someone with that kind of character.
No, I don't particularly think Canadians want somebody with this kind of character as Butts puts forward, especially since a few days ago, these photos of Mark Carney with his wife and apparently Ghislaine Maxwell have surfaced. Here's another photo of them three together. And this actually is linked to an article where it said that Ghislaine's brothers, Ian and Kevin, in the UK don't really have much of a relationship with her, but rumors that she might be staying in a flat in the city purportedly owned by her chum, Lady Tanya Rothwork. This lady is important because she actually is Mark Carney's former sister-in-law. So now there's a bunch of ties here. And another strange thing is if we look at the transcript from the CBC interview, it says it gives a little background about Butts. It says Butts served Trudeau's principal secretary during his first term and played a big role in the prime minister's successful 2015 election. He resigned in 2019 amid the SNC Lavalin controversy and is now vice chairman and a senior advisor at the political consultancy firm Eurasia Group. You know who else works there? Well, none other than Mark Carney's wife herself, Diane Fox Carner, senior advisor, Eurasia Group. Expertise, alternative renewable energy, climate change, and sustainable finance. These guys are carbon copies of each other. And that's exactly what Pierre said today in his press conference, as a little speech. He said no matter who you get as the face of the Liberal Party, they are just like Justin.
Did Liberal MPs get rid of him because they disagree with his policies, doubling the housing cost? Did they say that all of a sudden they've changed their mind on quadrupling the carbon tax up to 61 cents a litre? Is it because they feel guilty over the hell they've unleashed in our streets? No. They say he's doing a great job. It's just that Canadians unfairly don't like him anymore. And that unpopularity threatens their power, paychecks, and pension. And so, right before an election, the Liberal MPs want to elect another Justin Trudeau who has a different face. They're all Justin Trudeau. They're all just like Justin. In the next election, I will be running against Justin Trudeau. Whether his name is Justin Trudeau, or his name is Chrystia Freeland, or Carbon Tax Carney, or Carbon Tax Clark, they will all be Justin Trudeau. They supported everything he's done, and they promise to keep doing it. And if they say otherwise, we know they're lying, because they would have done so earlier.
Yeah, they should have done something earlier. I don't know what they could have done because they put those mechanisms in there that they couldn't do anything about it. But, I mean, this is what the Liberal Party did. They shot themselves in the foot, and you can't really feel bad for them. But as always, these are my opinions. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about all this. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.